Okay, here we are back inside MatrixGold. And today we are going to make a little pendant I put up on my website or the YouTube channel in the community area. A little dome pendant type thing. And we're going to actually make this a little different and kind of slow. So I'll probably cut some parts out because I'm sure you probably don't want to see everything. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. The first thing I'm going to do is go to my curves and go just grab a circle, right? And of course, we're going to change that to our creation layer. And then make it easy myself, I'll put it on F4. And then I want to hold down Shift and go in either direction. It doesn't matter. But I want to kind of keep that seam point to one side. And I'll just make it fairly large out here. And since I want it nice and domey, a real sharp maybe edge coming up and then a dome going around, I could do revolve. But we looked at that in Jolly in one of the last videos, and it creates some issues sometimes. But I don't think it will on this one. But just for the sake of deleting all those kind of issues, we're just going to go ahead and do it with the patch, and because it will really give me the best surface, I think, to make this. So I'm going to go ahead and change this layer to green just so I can keep track of it. And then I'm going to go to my surface and go to my patch command. And I'm going to select that extension. And then I'll hit enter, of course. Oh, patch. Go to patch. Extension. Enter, and then it'll give me up my pop-up window, right? And I have it set at 66. It's going to be a pretty intense surface, so I'll just go ahead and do a preview, right? And so there's our preview, and as you can tell, it's coming up nice and straight there, and then it kind of domes around, and that's the kind of shape I'm looking for. And it looks like it's fairly flat, which is patch. It's you never know for sure. But let's go ahead and you can see I've got a lot of points out there. So let's go ahead and take that. And if I turn on point, well, before we do that, let's go ahead and get rid of this base here. We don't need it really. I'm going to go ahead and take that curve down here. I'm going to change it to gray and hide it because we will need that later. And I'll change this surface to green. All right, so we have this surface out. Actually, I'll change it to this here, so it's nice and bright. So I'm going to take this surface, and then we'll just go ahead to transform, and we'll do our auto base. And I'll put our base out there. I'll hit enter. I'll go ahead and click on our auto base and center it. And then I'm just going to drag it. It looks like we broke history, but it's no big deal. And I'm going to take that, and I am going to change it to this layer here, and I'm going to go ahead and lock it. All right, so now we have this, right? We have a nice square out there, and we have a circle here. And the reason everything is in circles in Rhino and Matrix, by the way, in case you didn't know. And if I take this and I turn on my points, you can see the points go out, and we have a lot of points, right? It makes a square. So everything is really in a square. You can cut it to, you can make those points go to the circle itself, but it will still be a square. It won't go all the way to just the circle itself. So let's tidbit information. It's not something you really need. Well, for this one, you definitely don't need to know it. But I want to know exactly where this is going to be, the circle is going to be on this auto base, right? So the easiest way to do that is go to your curves, go all the way down to from object here, click on that drop down and go to create UV curves and click there. And it'll say select surface to create UV curves and points, and that would be this surface here, and then we'll just hit enter. And then it gives us that square again, but it also gives us the shape of the circle right there, right? And that's what we want. And then I'm just going to type in move. You can go to your command line, I think, and pick it from there too. And I'll turn on my snaps, and I'll grab that corner there, and I'll just snap it to the corner. And as you can see, it goes right to that surface there. And I'll just take that, and actually I'm going to go ahead and take those and change those to a nice bright color here. All right, so I can see them pretty well. And I'm going to go ahead and lock those. All right, so I'll lock those two. All right, so I can't move any of this stuff here, right? And that's my circle. Now I need some kind of a pattern or shape. I can draw anything I want out there or place anything I want out there. That's, you know, one way to do it. But we have a certain pattern that we want. So we're going to go into our view, and there's that. The move command, I think, is in here somewhere. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to go to background, get that drop down menu there, and go to picture frame. All right, and I have a picture that I got off the web here that I think will work very good. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that, or just open, and then it'll give me my dot out there, and I'm just going to click right there on that edge and go to that edge there. All right, and as you it's a little off, so let's go back, undo. Let's go back to that command, grab that picture one. I got a little hasty there. Let's just double click on here, and then I'll go to that corner, and then I'll make sure I snap to the corner up here. In snaps, okay. Yeah, it's still giving me a little outside there. I wonder why. Okay, so we have that. Now I'll just go ahead and turn this layer off right now, and I will go to my top view here. So I have this, and now I want to make it in the center. And as you can see, it's really kind of touching right there, and it's really kind of touching right there. So we should be okay, touching there and touching there. So the easiest way to do it, you can 1D it, drag this down to where you want it on this side, and then do the same thing on all four corners. But this one looks like it's pretty set up real good. So I'm going to go to my checkerboard right there. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to click on that checkerboard, and I'm just going to bring it in to go over the top of my line, right? Somewhere around here should be fine. So it kind of encircles that outside line, right, of my image. All right, so I'll take that, and I'll go ahead and take that image, and I'll change it to here, and then lock it so I can't select any of this stuff, right? It's all set in stone for right now. Now it's really just tracing everything out. Now most people will go straight to curves, and will go to their interp curve and start drawing the curves out, right? I'm going to show you a little something different here, and it might take a little bit more, but you might get a little bit better curve. I'm just going to go to a straight line curve. Or a line curve, and I'm going to click there, and then I'll go to I'm on my yellow layer, so I'll go there, and then I'm just going to click right here, hold down Shift, and drag it over to where I want it over here on this side, and then click there. Right now I just have a straight line, but I'm going to rebuild it. And the first thing I'm going to rebuild it in, I'm going to keep it degree 3. Matrix Gem Vision recommend that you don't change anything past the degree 3, but you have degree 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But they recommend not changing anything to past the degree 3. So I'll leave that up to your discretion. And I'm going to take this down to minimal points. Actually, I'm going to leave it at I'm going to change it to degree 2 and leave it at degree 3. So they say don't take it higher than a degree 3, but again, that's your choice. Okay. So I got it here, and then I'll go to my points on, and now I have this point here in the center, and I can see how the curve is just nice and smooth, right? So I can drag it up to wherever I want it. Drag it up. Okay, but those not enough points there, right? Which I already knew that, but I wanted to show. And this is how, if you want to keep the minimal points in order to be able to manipulate it easier in the future, it's best to keep it as few as you can. So take it to 1, and then change it to 2, and then maybe change it to 3, and then add points from there. But you want to try and keep as few points on it as possible to get the best surface, right? So I have this, and now I'm just going to right click on my command line there, and it'll give me a recent command thing, and then I'll just click rebuild again, and then I'll select my curve and then hit enter, and I'll take this up to 4 points and hit OK. So I just keeping it as small as possible, and it changed my curve a little bit, right? But I still have a very good control over it. And there we go. We got it right there. And you can also take those points and bump them out a little. right? So it's really easy to manipulate those points right there, right? And get the shape that you're going for, right? So we'll just go ahead and say this is what I want, all right? And now what I'm going to do is turn off those points there, double escape twice, and then I'm going to click on my curve. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this curve in place, and I'm going to change it to red. All right, so now I should have two curves out here, one red, one blue, or yellow. I'm going to take the red curve, and I'm going to turn on my points on that red curve, and I have this here, and I'm just going to drag that up to there. All right, and again, it's not because we extended it out, it's making this straighter, right? So you could take this and you could bump it out a little, but it's still not giving me a nice shape right down in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that, go to my command line, right click, hit rebuild one more time, and I'm going to add 2 more points on there and hit OK. Now I have these points here, right? So I can select those 2 points and I can kind of bump them out to where I want. Now I have the minimal points I need or in order to get this shape of a curve. And it's really easy if I wanted to manipulate it even more to get a real smooth, decent shape, right? So keeping your points as minimal as possible is really the best thing. And now I'm going to take those and I'm just going to turn them both to yellow. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and use the pipe command for a majority of it. Just like I said, to make it fast and quick. And I get my pipe out here and we got this. And I'll just bump this up. Let's go ahead and hide this so I can read my hide so I can read my lines there. I'm going to hold down shift and take it to maybe 0.4 and then again over here 0.4, and I'll just say that's what I want. Okay, now I'll bring back that picture. Don't need the surface, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this from this midsection right in here, and I'm just going to drag it over here, kind of eyeballing it somewhere around in here, kind of the midpoint like, and then right click and then click off of it, right? And then I'm just going to select this and swing it around so I get something like this, and maybe drag it over a little bit, something like that. And then I'll just go up here to transform and I'll mirror that to the other side, and then I'll hit enter. So now anything I do to this, it does to that. So I could manipulate this however I want, bring it in, bring it out, however you want to manipulate it. We'll just say this is good for us. And that's kind of what we want. We want them connected here, we want them connected here and here, so that when we throw it up on our surface here, it'll be all connected, right? Now we need to do all these little swirl things, right? So now we can go to our interp curve, right? Go to our interp curve, and we're on yellow, so that's good. I'm going to turn off my snaps because we don't need any of that. And actually, we don't need it as green here or those outside curves anymore either. We just need the picture so that we can manipulate everything. All right, and now we need to do these. Now this, you don't want to stay in the center because you want to drag it out. So you have to kind of do a little bit of adjustments here, right? So we'll come like around here and we'll just start clicking away. Trying to keep it, the tighter the turn, the closer the points will go, but it doesn't matter because we're going to change this here in a little bit anyway. But we don't want it touched. We want that after we put the circle piping around it, we'll want it touching. So it doesn't really matter at this point, but pretty close to it. And we just want to get all these points out here, right? So we'll take this and then we'll turn on our points, and as you can see, it's really choppy, it's kind of nasty looking, and it's got a lot of points on it. So let's go in here and do another rebuild. It's a lot of rebuilding, and select our curve, and then we'll hit enter. All right, and right away it's a degree 2 and it has 6 points. And as you can tell, if I turn off my picture here, the curve, the yellow one there, it's nowhere near what we want. So this one will definitely take up to a degree 3, and it doesn't really give us anything except for a mess. And then we're going to go ahead and start adding some points until we get a nice little smooth thing going around, and that looks pretty good, right? And we dropped it from 22 points down to 14 points, right? And we're going to delete our input, the original curve. We'll just go ahead and delete it, and we're going to go ahead and hit enter. All right, we're going to leave our points on, and we're going to select that curve, and we're going to go to our solids again, and like I said, we're just going to do piping. And as you can see, it's kind of not exactly what I want, but see, the nice thing about it is we can do a lot of manipulating here because our points are very few, and it should keep a nice edge to it. So we'll go ahead and take that. We'll go to our wireframe here. Now, I don't want it so close right in through here, but I want it tight in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to drag it out a little bit. And as you can see, my curve's still looking pretty good because we kept minimal points on it, right? And so now we have a little space going in there. Maybe take this one and kind of bump it in just a little. And you can play around with this. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. But that's, you know, keeping a few curves, points on it is always nice. So we'll go ahead here and we'll say, hey, that's perfect. And we'll get rid of those points there and bring back our picture. Okay, and it looks like this is the same as this. If I do a mirror here, let's see what it does. Yeah, it puts it out there. That's kind of where I want it. So I'll just escape out of that. So I know that all I have to do is do this one and then do a mirror over here, right? So on this one here, right? So we want it coming out of here and then going around and getting thinner. And you can make this one thinner too if you wanted to. So let's go ahead and go back real quick and say, you know, maybe I want this a little thinner on the end so it kind of tapers down, right? And you can taper that down a little bit if you wanted to. And maybe if you wanted to, you can make this a little thicker. So, you know, however you want to do it is fine. I'm just going to keep it like around here. And now we're going to go in here and do this one. And again, we'll go ahead and do the interp curve. And we'll just start kind of like right in here and start drawing it around. And again, we're not going to keep it exactly to it, but pretty close, and drawing it around. And as it gets tighter on the turns, we're going to put points closer together to kind of keep them set, right? And again, that's a nasty curve. It looks choppy and blah. So we're going to go down here to command line and rebuild it. And right now it says 20 points. We got 14 points on there, and it's a 0.01 difference. So that's real low. Let's see if we get away with some less points there. Oh, I like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this right here. And we'll go ahead and turn on points. And I'll take that curve and go ahead and do piping again. All right, and we'll shade it, and maybe it's a little in here. So first thing I'll do is we want this a little thinner here. So it only let me take it down to point something. I can't read it. So we'll turn off this surface and off this, and 0.25. Yeah, really, that's kind of thin as it is. That's radius, so it's a 0.5, which is okay. Let's see if I can take it down to a 0.2. So over here, I can't do it with my handle, but I can do it over here, right? So I'll just take it. Is that my end or start? End. So I'll take it, type in 0.2, so it's a 0.4. Yeah. And we'll just now kind of clean that up a little bit, right? And hit enter and enter. So now if you want to, you can go back in here as well and go to your shading or whatever, and kind of manipulate these points around however you want. You know, it just really depends on how you want it to look. And it touches there and it comes out there, and I like that, so we'll take it. We'll say I like that. And we'll bring back our picture, and we kind of do this through the whole thing. I'll go ahead and pause the video to do these other scrolls here. I don't think, because it's basically the exact same thing, but there is this here, right? I do want to show this one here. And again, this is just a little dome, right? not a lot of swirling, so we don't really need to use the interp curve. You'll probably it'd be better just to use a line curve from, you know, maybe say this point here to something like this, and then select that, turn on points, go down to your command line, go to rebuild, select on that curve, hit enter. And of course, this can go down to a degree 2, and it can go all the way down to 3 points, right? And then hit enter, because it's just a very, very small little curve, and we can drag it out something like that. And again, if you wanted to, you could right click, rebuild it, go to a degree 3 with 4 points, hit enter, and then, you know, kind of do some more manipulation, but keep it the smaller point value the better. And we'll just drag this over to make sure it's going in far enough, and we'll drag this one over into something like that, and then we'll just go ahead and select it and do our pipe, and we'll just say that's okay. It was a little thin on that one side, I think, so we'll go ahead and hit that, right? And before we do any of that, I'll just go ahead and select this, and this, and I will go ahead and mirror it over to the other side and hit enter. So whatever I do over here on this side, and you need to remember that you want to do it on this side, it'll affect this side here. And right now, I'll go ahead and pause the video and finish these other ones up and come right back, okay? Okay, here we are back. I finished it up. There is one thing I guess I should point out is this thing here, right? This little, if I turn on my wire, that little square thing there. How I did that was really easy. I just went to my curves and just grabbed me a square, and I kind of drew a square out there. And then of course I go over and I turn on my points, and then I just take those two on this end, and then 2D them in, right? Or 1D them in right here to get the edge that I want. And then I went from my side view to my side view, and then first click off that, grab the whole curve, and then I just kind of dragged it down into about, not all the way through, and dragged it down. And then I went to solids and extruded it solid up in one direction, and then that's how I put that in there. Okay, so just so you know how that piece came in there, in case you were wondering. Pretty simple. So now we're ready to go ahead and do this flow. So first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and grab all my curves, and we'll change those to yellow. We don't need to flow those up there, and I'll keep everything else the way it is, and it's only the green out there. So and I can't super select it. Maybe I can. Let's try. So we'll go to transform. It'll select every, maybe just solids. So let's go to smart flow. Select our base. We'll need to bring back our base now. Well, hide that. We need to show this, and we'll hide the picture. This will be our base. Select our base. That'll be, oh, I can't select it because it's locked. Select our base. Oh, wrong one. Let's lock this one. Select this. Select our destination surface here, and then select our items we want to flow. Let's see if I can go over here and super select all closed poly surface. Yeah, there we go. And then hit here, right? And then we got it up there, but of course it's on the wrong side, it looks like. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, so we have everything flown up there. Looks like it's pretty decent for the most part, so we'll just go ahead and say that's good, and we'll take it. And now I'll just go ahead, I don't want to do any manipulating here on this, so I'm just going to go ahead and take it, and I'm going to hide it, right? And I have this here. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and I will I have my duplicate right here. I'll duplicate this edge here, and then make sure I'm on yellow, and then hit enter, and then right away just go to my solids and then put a profile on there. And I guess that direction's okay. We can manipulate it, so we'll change to something that how we're going to connect everything together, and we'll get to that at the very end here. We'll just go ahead with this here, make it nice and smooth, and we'll take that, and of course we don't need it so large, so we're going to manipulate it down to maybe 0.6 should be fine, and then we'll just take it down to 0.6 here too, and then we'll kind of bump it out a little bit, and let's see what we've got going here. Maybe we can even drop it down a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and do a curve on that and see, make sure everything's kind of touching. Yeah, and it shows off I got a little gap there, which is what I want, and it looks to be okay. So we'll just go ahead and say, hey, that's perfect. And we'll take that, and we'll take this layer and go ahead and turn it to gray. We don't really, now we have a nice little dome pendant there, right? And there we go. All right, and now this will be maybe a little interesting. So let's see. Do I still have that curve out there? No, I don't. So let's go ahead and bring back everything. My curve, for some reason. Oh, I know. There it is. Okay, this curve here, right? Oh yeah, I'm going to select that curve. Okay, and if I try to manipulate it, it's going to move my rail, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure history's turned off, which I haven't used history the whole time here, or record history on. So I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to duplicate it in place, and I'm going to turn it to red, and then I'm going to take all that gray again and hide it. And then this time I'm going to take that yellow curve there, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it to gray, because I just want the red curve for right now. All right, and let's get my viewports up here. Okay, so we have this, and we need to make a surface going around pretty close to the same as that one, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take that red curve, and we're just going to bump it out just a little bit in order to get that edge there. So let's bump it out to around maybe 3/4 of the ways. And it went ahead and manipulated that anyway. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take that red curve. Take that red curve, and we'll just delete it. And we'll just go ahead and put another one out there. Be just as easy. And make sure my snaps are off. Go from F4 because we know where it's centered. And then we'll take it out maybe like somewhere around right in the middle of that curve, right? And then we'll just go ahead and hit enter, right? And then I'll go ahead and take that curve, and I just want to bump it down just a little bit. And now here's the interesting part. I'm going to take that curve, and I'll go to my surface and just do a planar curve, right? Planar. Let's see. Is it not plane? Take that curve and planar surface. No, why? What's going on here? Okay. Well, there's more than one way to do it. So what we can do is we can go to, for some reason it's not giving it to me. So I can go to solids. I can go to extrude one direction, and I'll go to my front here. And we'll make it about, I don't know, something fairly thick, because we're going to put diamonds in this. We're going to do a cutout. So I'm going to take it down to maybe at least a 7.5, so around there. All right, and then we'll take that. All right, and then we'll go ahead and go back and take a look at everything here. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my green. Right? Oh, I better turn that to green here, I guess. Pink. All right. So we have this now. Couple things here. Well, let's go. I got that many surfaces out here. Serious? How did that happen? Okay. I only want one. I don't know why it gave me so many. Did I hit it that many times? Okay, so we got this. So let's take this and turn it to another layer here. And we have that curve out there, right? Let's go ahead and take that curve. And let's see if we can bring that in without it affecting everything. I need to select that curve. The curve. Okay, so it's not giving it to me. So let's go ahead and duplicate that. We're on yellow, okay. Oh, there it is. So there's my curve. And I want to, let's maybe not so bright here. Let's take this surface here and kind of change it to this here. Yeah, not so bright. And then take this curve and then kind of, I just want it a little bit offset. And I'm going to bring back my green so I can kind of keep an eye on. I want a little ledge in there. Just a little ledge. Something like just a little bit more. Come on. This. See, I can, the curves go just on the inside, right? And that's what I want. Okay. So let's go ahead and hide this again. Now let's just go to our surface and we'll do a push pull. All right. So there we go. And it's a depth 0.5. Probably don't need it a 0.5. So let's take that depth to just a 0.3 and we'll hit enter. Negative 0.3, I guess. Take it. There we go. Okay, so we got a negative 0.3. Now this is something that we'll go ahead and take that, turn it to gray. We'll take this, turn it to this color. All right, so now this will be interesting, I think. We have this surface, right? We want to go ahead and extract this surface. But there's something going on here that I'll show you. Okay, we have the surface, right? Now, if I go to gems, because we're going to do some pave gems on here, gems. And there's all my gems. It's not too bad. Okay, it's set up okay. So sometimes you have to rebuild the surface to get the gems to flow really smoothly and nicely. But this looks like it's doing okay. So we have these. We don't want them that big, so we're going to drop them down around the 1.5. That, and then now we're going to do a little manipulation. They're got a lot of gapping around my edge and everything. So what first thing we're going to do is distance between gems. We're going to bump that out. We don't need them that tight, so we'll just bump this out a little bit. And as you can tell, it's getting closer to my edge, right? And actually, that one looked pretty good. So just kind of bumping them out to get my edge a little bit cleared. Actually, we can probably bring these down a little bit more. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll bump them out. And then also go to distance from border. Let's go ahead and bump that back a little bit. And we'll change those diameter, not the diameter, the distance between gems. Bump that up one more. See what, there we go. Now everything's starting to close up pretty well, right? And we might have a little area here, 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 here and here that we can close up, but it really doesn't, it really looks pretty good, and we got a nice spacing in there for nice heavy prongs. Let's go ahead and do our bump our gems up, see what it looks like. The ones don't look too bad. Let's go ahead, bring our tolerance. You kind of just going to play around with these until you find a oh no, yeah, there we go. Till you find something that's going to be a good, oh, there you go, getting even better. Yeah, there's our 1-pointers that, or 1mm stones that have one gap, just a very small gap, and it looks pretty decent. So actually, we're just going to go ahead and say this is good for this video. And we have these out here, but we have a little space here. Now we can do several things. We can just put 2 prongs there, or we can try and squeeze in a dime. And let's see if we can squeeze in a dime first. So we'll go to gem springs. And we'll select our surface and hit enter. Okay, and now we can go to add gem, and we'll definitely want to drop that down. Let's take it to 0.8, and let's see if this little thing, it's not really going to fit. So I'm just going to put prongs in there, and we're going to back out of this, and we'll just go ahead with prongs. Okay, so we'll go in here and we'll select all that. We'll go to settings, we'll go to pave prongs, slap those puppies on there, select our surface, and give it a second here. And we got all these nice little thick prongs out there, which is really actually pretty good. I like the thicker look when you go in here, and well, I'm not really showing it there. It's kind of okay. Yeah. All right. So not a real good there, but we can put a prong here, put a prong there. Yeah, and it'll close up those gaps. So let's just go ahead and take that and hit enter. Prongs above are okay. Let's take a look at it in rendered there, and it really kind of just bunches up everything, right? And I got some nice beefy prongs there for them. So we need to put maybe one prong here on each one of those. So let's go to our prongs on surface. Let's select our surface, and I got one right there. Let's move this puppy over around here so we have two on this thing here. Right. Actually, I want to do it on this side here. Just my personal preference. Let's go to top view here. And we got this thing here, and let's kind of bump it up to the size of our other prongs. And of course, that's probably going to be way too tall. So let's take that overall height down. Kind of keep it to the same as our others there. And we'll just bump him over just a smidge, something like that. And we'll just kind of go ahead and, that one looks pretty good right there, where it's covering both those stones. We'll go ahead and add one there. It'll keep those all nice and tight. And can we add one in here? Sure. We'll add one in here. And we'll come down here and add one in here. And come down here and add one in here. And one more right here. Okay. And then now I got to remember where those are. Okay. And we'll take that. We'll hit enter. Now I'm going to go ahead and select that one because I know which one it is. And then I'll just go to transform, mirror, dynamic, or parametric, and then it just mirrors all those over to the other side, right? And then hit enter. So we have all our stones up there, and if we bring back our top, boom. Now we've got something coming together, right? Or it's looking like it's coming together, right? So there you go, right? Now, the last thing we need to do, this is probably a good point to go ahead and job bag it, is we have this surface and this surface, and we need to get these put together, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select extract an ISO curve from this surface right here, right? And put it right in the middle. It looks like it is. It's not disappeared, but it says it's in the middle. So we'll just go ahead and believe it. And we'll take that curve. We'll go to our profiles, tools, profile. And of course that we don't want. We want to kind of keep to the same as this other one here, or pretty close to it. Or you can put a little design on it if you want, I guess. What? Okay. And then this one I'm going to take and I'm going to roll it this way. And then we're going to drag it down pretty close. First of all, I'm going to drag it in a little. Doesn't matter because it's going to go into that rail there, right? And then drag it this way a little. So I can make it pretty close to the same as the other one there. So something like that, right? And I have a little edge going around and everything like that. So let's just go ahead and activate the auto sweep so we can kind of really get a good look. So we have something like this going on. And we want to make sure, the only thing we want to make sure of is let's go ahead and take this for right now. Let's take this one we just put out there and we'll change it to a different layer here. And then we'll take this layer and hide it real quick. Show it. Oh, I clicked off everything. What we need to do is we just need to make sure that it's not coming into our ring and or our pendant, right, and covering it up. So this should be okay. Actually, this one's a little off. It should probably go in a little bit because my curves are showing. So let me see if I can find that one. Where's that one at? It's probably put on another layer. So I'm just going to bring back my gray. There it is, right here, right? I'm going to take that. And I still have parametrics, so I'm going to go edit, and I'm just going to kind of Oh, I don't want that surface there. So let's go ahead and hide gray. Okay, and now I have this, and I'm just going to bring it in just a little to match up to my edge there. And a little bit of overlapping is no big deal. So I'll go ahead and take that. All right, and we're still overlapping there, right? Okay, so from here, well, first thing we want to do is we want to go and first hide green. And we want to select this surface and hold down shift and collect all that. So I think they're all on the same color there. And we'll go ahead and not the prongs, the surface. We'll join that together, see if it'll lock up for us. Okay, so are we a closed? Yes, we're a closed poly surface. That's what we want. This is a closed poly surface. So let's join these two together. So we'll go to solids, Boolean union. This surface here, enter. This surface here, enter. And we have our single surface. And this will go ahead, turn to gray and bring back our green. So we have all this, right? So we're going to take this surface and turn it to another color so we know it's not connected. And it won't be connected. Well, at least for right now. Okay, so we have this. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine. We've both been jewelers and craftsmen for over 40 years. So, and I was asking him, the best way to put something like this together, which is, because you could take it and you could run solder seam going all around. And I was saying, well, we could also put posts through here and connect it to the post. And really, the post, his recommendation, which I thought, yeah, that's it, is the less soldering joints you make on something, the better, right? So let's go ahead and just hide this surface, right? And now what we can do is we'll go ahead, I think this is all, so let's hide this too. We just want this here. Let's go to our top. All right. Ooh. And now what we can do is we can go to our curves, go to just circle. Actually, you can just do pipe if you want. And we're just going to, first I'll just go to center, right? Go to center and I'll just make something very small. And then I'll take that curve and I'm just going, so that way I know it's right there on the thing, right? And put it up or on the plane, right? And we can make this a little larger. So I'm going to hold down shift and bump it up a little bit. Something like this perhaps. So we have a decent size post there, right? And now I can go to surface or solids and extrude straight, right? Planar. Let me go to my side here. And I can just, let's bring back this surface here. And we want it coming through, right? But the thing is after we do the cut for this, you kind of want it, when you solder it, you want it the same metal because it's going to be a two-tone piece. The top piece is going to be yellow, the bottom piece is going to be white. So when you solder it, you want to use white gold so you're not going to see a seam. So you want this post to go up inside it, right? And then solder it so it connects it fine, but the seam will be white. So we're going to first just drop it down like this, right? And then what we can do is we can go to our top view, and we're going to, while it's still selected, right, we can go to our transform, we can go to array, polar from F4, and we only want 4 of them, and then hit enter and enter. And now we have the 4 corners, right? So there will only be 4 solder seams on it, and we'll hit enter. Okay, and then we'll bring back our other surface, our green surface. Right, and now we have the post going through. So let's go ahead and hide this again. And we have our post going through, right? So we don't want it connected to this. We're going to hide this one. Well, we'll just turn it off. All right. We want those posts connected to that item, right? So what we're going to do is go to solids, Boolean union. This will be our first surface. Hit enter, this, and this, and hit enter and enter. So now they're all connected. We'll take all that yellow, we'll change it to gray and hide it. So now it's connected to that surface there, right? And then you bring back that surface, and then you do a Boolean difference. And this will be a surface we want cut, and this will be the surface that we want to do the cutting, and then hit enter, right? And now we have a little groove going around right there, right? And then hit enter, and I lost my item, so we'll back out of that. Maybe it turned it to green. Let's go forward again. If it turned it to green, it should still be there, huh? So we'll back out of that, sorry. I'll go ahead and take this surface just in case it does it again. This time it won't. And I'll duplicate it, and I'll turn it to red and hide it. Okay, so that, all right, so this is the surface we want cut. This is the one that disappeared. Okay, so I'll duplicate that too, just in case. Duplicate, in place, turn to red. All right, so let's do that Boolean difference one more time. Boolean difference, this will be the surface that we're wanting to keep. Enter, this will be the cutter. Enter, and oh, it came back. See, now it's fine. Okay, let's see, which surface? I don't want this one anymore. Get rid of that one. So this is the one that has the cuts in it, right? So if I take that one and turn it to this color, and I hide my green, I can see that I have my cuts for the 4 holes. And we'll bring back everything, okay? And now I'll take those prongs, because we're gonna just kind of show what it will look like. And actually we want to take all green. We're going to change that to this layer here real quick. And this will be on that layer. You'll have to join all these together, of course. And we're going to take this layer and turn that to here, and then go back and grab this layer and turn it to there. So that top layer will be yellow, and all those prongs and everything will be green. The last thing you need to do, really, which I don't know that I really need to show, is of course put bell on there. I think it's, where is it? Solids? Nope. Tools? Settings. Yeah, bell. Put a bell. And it drags it, puts it out there, and let's go ahead and drag it up, make it bigger, and do your manipulation on that. I'm not going to waste a lot of time here, because I'm sure you already know how to do all this part. So we go to our bell, and we want to make it profiles. We want to make it wider, and of course we want to make this a little bit thicker, and we'll go ahead and top profile will change, make it a little something different here. Let's go to, I don't know, something like this here, something crazy, and we'll just go ahead and say that's what we want. And of course we want to open up that gappage there, so we'll go back in here and mess around with this part. That's done with that. Oh, here we go. Open that up so we can get a heavier chain through there, and then you want to go back and do your jump ring, of course. Make it a little bigger, and maybe not so thick diameter wise. Whoop, wrong one. There we go. Just so it's barely out there, and then we'll just go ahead and go to our main one, and we'll drag it in so it's kind of touching our item, and then we'll drag it down so it's connected right there, right? So there you go. All right, and let's just say that's what we want. I'll let you play around with that. And then the last thing is just go ahead and, go ahead and do your cutouts on your gems, of course, your gem cutters. And then group all this together, or Boolean all this together, which isn't really that big a deal. It shouldn't be any problems at all. So you Boolean all that together, and then you have a pendant that is a two-tone pendant that really kind of stands out. And if we go ahead and do a render on it, we'll go to ray traced. We'll go ahead and put some materials on here. Metals, let's get rid of those. Let's get rid of those. Let's just go to our metals here. We want all this surface here to be white gold. No. This surface here. Yeah, that surface to be white. Apply. All this surface here to be yellow. Apply. MatrixGold. Apply. And we want to take that bale, and you can change him white or yellow. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Let's keep him yellow here. And we want all our blue to be diamonds. And we'll go to here and okay. So we have to be in ray trace to activate that. So we'll go to ray trace. We'll go to our Rhino properties. We'll go ahead and click on this star and activate our Navita from here to speed it up a little bit. And there you go. And it should be pretty quick. My diamonds are a little washed out, but it can kind of give you an idea of what it will look like right there. All right. So hopefully this is kind of interesting. It's just a different type of design, but there's all kind of different things you could do with something like this. So hopefully the video helped. And if it did, please leave a like, subscribe, and a comment below. And again, I'm working on that series. So hopefully I'll have it done as soon as possible. It's taking up a lot of time, but it'll be, I think, useful for you. So thanks for watching. Good designing.